Welcome to Anime Out of Context, a comedy review show hosted by a basement dweller who grew up scrounging terrible fan subs on sketchy websites prior to the convenience of modern streaming, alongside a willfully ignorant soul whose only knowledge of anime comes from the shows forced upon him here. This show will contain spoilers, incorrect information, and copious amounts of adult language. Our hosts are not experts on any topic, and everything they say should be taken with a grain of salt. Thank you for listening, and enjoy.
Hello and welcome to Anime Out of Context, the show where I attempt to explain the sometimes weird, sometimes wonderful, but always hilarious world of anime.
And I'm sorry, I don't believe I've ever met you.
I'm Shaun Rollins.
I'm Remington Chase.
Oh dear, that'd be one hell of a way to open a podcast with some severe gaslighting. That'll really get people entertained.
It's tempting. It's tempting. Just because I'm always tempted to go way too far into a bit.
Yeah. Like, what people may not know about you, Rem, is that if you find a bit...
I don't do half measures.
No. Like, you are all in on that bit.
Like you know how a lot of people will constantly be like, oh, you know what would be funny? Oh, this thing. Oh, that'd be so crazy. But, oh, man. And it just exists as a sort of, like, funny hypothetical. And then I'm like, but how do I actually make that happen, though? Oh, shit. For better or very often for worse.
Like, you've gotten yourself into some pretty shitty situations because of that. But
also, sometimes it's real funny.
Most of the time it's really funny. And if it's not really funny at the time, down the line when you're telling the story...
It'll be a great story in hindsight.
People are laughing their asses off. In fact, I think I've had to rescue you from several of these decisions, haven't I?
Yeah, but we're not here to talk about rescuing me. Let's talk about what's going on with whatever anime we are doing this week.
Well, Rem, last week something phenomenal happened. If you skipped that episode because, you know, it's sister fucky, and why wouldn't you? Like,
it's okay if you did.
Yeah. You didn't miss much. You just missed Rem having an existential crisis, and don't listen to the Patreon reads. That's all I'm gonna say. You didn't miss much. But the one thing you did miss that was of note is that Rem, spot on to the second digit, guessed a Mal score correctly.
What can I say? I have transcended. I've seen through the Matrix. Through 4 years of this podcast, I understand the weebs on a far deeper level than I would ever want to. And
because of that, he had a request. He wanted something that he would enjoy this week.
And so... Did ya? Is that what we're doing?
Well, Rem, I said last week that it would be up to you. And you simply responded with, yeah, obviously I want to do the good thing. But that's not what I meant. What I meant was, Rem, is it's about time. It's been a minute.
All right. All right. Either you're going to give me a choice or we're going to roll some dice.
We're not going to roll dice because that has a possibility of giving you something truly awful, and I'm not going to do that to you.
Thank God.
This is actually going to try to be positive reinforcement, Rem.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to give you a choice between two shows.
All right.
One is a brand new show that's airing this season.
Okay.
And the other is a show that a lot of people have recommended, have rated highly, and think that you will really enjoy.
Interesting. Okay.
And I figured if I gave you a choice between the two, it would be, the equivalent. Now, how that really turns out in the end and what your opinions are, those are yours.
Okay. All right. So it definitely, from your descriptions, right?
Right.
It leans towards the second one seeming more favorable for me. That's yes. Like the more tantalizing option. But we've been here before. We've been here before where it's like, ooh, do you want this thing that, oh, look, it checks a lot of boxes. It looks tantalizing, but then it's like, get fucked. Get boozled. So is this accurate? Is it a bluff or is it a double bluff?
Are you trying to make a guess right now, Rem?
I mean, am I allowed more info?
I was going to give you more info, yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, you were just going to go blindly into it, be like,
normally that's all you tell me.
Well, Rem, I'm trying to give you some positive reinforcement. I'm not going to tell you everything about it, but I'm going to give you a little bit more to go off of than just, hey, this one's new and this one's old.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, this one's new and this one's old, and a lot of people think I will like it.
Yes. But I'm gonna give you a general vibe of the idea behind the show, which
Okay,
should
I like getting vibes.
which will vastly like push your opinion one way or the other, I feel.
Okay.
So for the new show, it's one that's just currently airing. Only 3 episodes are out. But the whole idea is family dynamics, and there is no interfamilial fucking at all
Good.
to this
Good.
point.
Love
Like so far, it seems wholesome and slightly humorous is the idea.
All right. Good qualities. Though I'm always there's always an asterisk towards wholesome anime.
Yeah.
In that sometimes they're just lonely.
This I'll also emphasize, not a romance.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, no, it's family dynamics, with some wholesomeness and some slight humor, around it. Whether or not it's gonna be anything amazing, hard to say. But from what I've recently done my massive seasonal binge, and of the things I've watched, this seems like one of the easier ones to watch without like wanting to tear your hair out, or it will actually have some redeeming qualities.
Okay. And what about the other one?
The other one is all about second chances. Generally speaking, the whole idea is taking a bit of a sci-fi exchange and dealing with the past in a slightly different and creative way.
All right. Okay. So here's what I'm thinking. First one, no fucking clue what's going on there.
Okay.
First one, I got nothing. It's new. Second one, I have hypotheses.
Okay. Hit me with your hypotheses.
I have 2 main hypotheses, right? One of them is when you say the theme is second chances, I'm like, well, what if that's not the theme of the show, and that's just the theme of me choosing that, and it's something we've already done. So some sci-fi, older sci-fi thing that this would be the second time we've done it. And if it's second chances, then it's probably one I didn't adore the first time that then a lot of people maybe think I'll like more, or they know I'll still hate. All right. Then the second one where I'm like, all right, older sci-fi has been like everyone fucking wants us to watch it. Neon Genesis Evangelion's another one in that category.
Right.
Or something down that vein. Second one still carries more risk with it, but I feel like it's the more interesting choice, just than whatever normal new thing. Like, it's not about what's new and shiny. It's about what's a fascinating choice.
I will also say that when I say old, it's not that old. It came out in 2016.
I'm going second one. Going the old one.
Okay.
Going with Old Yeller.
Okay. So just to tell you what you're not going to watch, you missed the opportunity to watch a newly airing anime simply titled The Yakuza's Guide to Babysitting.
Of course.
Which it was just it's a little slice of life about a Yakuza's boss's daughter and his right hand like thug of a man being essentially required to take care of the kid to teach him about boundaries and limits.
Didn't we already?
Oh yeah, you're thinking of Hinamatsuri. Yeah, no, like that's the same kind of vibe. but this is not as like violently comedy. This one is a bit more soft and yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. I'm oftentimes I'll have anime described to me and I'm like, I don't know if I know this or not.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
Right.
We did you loved Hinamatsuri because it was very absurdist and funny.
Okay. I'm okay with foregoing that. Let's see what is behind door number 2, what I'm gonna be walking home with today.
So, Remington, it's a show that we have not covered before, unlike your hypotheses.
Okay.
It is a show simply titled ReLife.
Okay, I have seen its name in like in my periphery, in like people talking about it and stuff, but I don't know shit.
Yeah, there are quite a few shows that put re in front of a word and then be like, there you go.
Yeah. This is just the sequel to ReZero.
Yes. Oh god. That's such a confusing timeline. But ReLife is a story about our main character, Arata Kaizaki. And he's oh god, oh fuck, I just looked at his age. That's a little too real. By and large, he is kind of a hopeless loser 27-year-old. Man, that's
I didn't know this was a documentary, Shaun.
I don't know why it just hit me. I am not far away from turning 27. This is not the best. This is a bit painful. Oh man, that's great. Not great. But basically he's not having the best adult life. Hasn't been able to hold down a proper job after he quit the first time because the company wasn't really right for him, so he wanted to try a different one. But because he quit so quickly, no other company has been willing to hire him, essentially. And,
Okay.
it's kind of throwing him into a bit of a depression and a bit of a, bad time. And one day, he meets a member of a group that call themselves the ReLife Research Institute and offer him a mysterious pill.
So he gets a do-over. It's the same premise for like 80% of the shows that are like do-overs. Like, oh no.
Yeah, like
shit's
every
tough
like
or something's
John
gone seriously
Carpenter.
wrong.
Wait, no, not John Carpenter. Fuck, no, no, wait.
Yeah, very different. Very different.
Oh god, what was his name? Cusack?
And then the dog
No.
starts barking, but what's going on?
Yeah, no, god, that would be a hell of a twist if this was actually just like a Thing remake, just set in like a Japanese high school. No, and counting his losses, he takes the medication and finds that he has reverted essentially back to a 17-year-old, and as part of this research institution's goal, they enroll him back in high school, and he's getting essentially a chance to leave his life behind and relive things to try and hopefully get a better second chance at things. And
Does he have knowledge? Like, is he going back with all the knowledge he has now?
yes, like all that's happening, Rem, is that his body is physically reverting.
Hey, Shaun, I have a question. I have some very important questions.
Yeah, what's up, Rem?
So does this adult man get in a relationship with a child?
Well, Rem, that's not for me to say.
At any point in the show, does this 27-year-old man in the body of a child date a child?
Well, Rem, I feel like we should just jump into it.
Okay, all right, okay, here we are.
It's
folks.
it's complicated, Rem. It's complicated.
It's not that complicated.
It's complicated.
Not really.
A lot of people say that they think you'll like the show a lot, Rem. It's
How
highly rated on
insulting.
Mal. I'm trying to give you what you asked for.
This is bullshit. All right, okay, do your spiel that you gotta do before we throw ourselves into it, and I throw myself into hellfire.
You never know, Rem. Maybe this'll be a surprisingly good show for you.
Sure. Cut the bullcrap. Give it synopsis. Let's move on. We know
I already
where
gave
this
you
is
the
going.
synopsis. Like, we're past that point.
All right. So
We're
do I
done.
need to hear anything else? We're done. All right. Let's fucking do it then. Let's just.
Let's just go
Oh,
in. Yeah, like I
fuck.
gave you the synopsis. Like, what more do you need than hey?
I don't know. I felt like you gave me the hook, not like where it goes from there. But
Well,
I
I
guess
mean,
I'll
the
see.
catch is now that he's young, he has to go to school for just 1 year. After that, he is going to be given a like jobs and all that kind of jazz. Like he's essentially been reverted to a senior in high school, and then after that, he's going to have a successful work environment. Like that's
All
his
right,
motivation.
I hate all this already. Let's do this.
All right, without further ado, let's go watch some ReLife.
Hey, fellas, don't do that. How do I know? Maybe this is someone who just sounds eerily like Shaun. I mean, it's not hard. For instance, hey, welcome home, Shaun Rolls. Welcome to Anime Out of Context. See, it's real easy to imitate your voice, Shaun.
Okay, I'm recording now, so you better be.
Yes, I am as well.
Oh god, it gave me the suicide hotline number. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back after watching 5 whole episodes of 2016's ReLife. And Remington, were the people correct? Were all the people who sent us in recommendations for this anime on the money thinking that, hey, this is a show for Remington? Or were they horribly wrong and you're really trying to denounce your role as voice of the people?
All right, well, ReLife, right off the bat, is a good show.
Okay.
I
All right.
don't know if it's a very good show or not.
Well, that's gonna need some elaboration.
It will, and I'm hoping by the end of this episode, I will know the answer to this. because right now I'm unsure.
Okay, well, this is an interesting response, Rem. It's been a while since we've had one of these.
Yeah. So let's start off talking about the show, covering these 5 episodes that we went through. We start with meeting our resident NEET, Shaun, Arta. I mean,
Hey!
I
Hold the fuck on.
Force a habit, you know.
No.
It just slipped out. It just.
Rem, I have 3 jobs, I'll have you know. My real person job, my seasonal job, and a podcasting job. I am not a NEET.
Hey, that's what Arta says too.
Oh.
Arta also has a job. But well, I mean, sort of ish. He had a job, or it now pretends to, for the most part. And is doing some interviews ish sometimes, but not really. He's just vibing. He's just vibing and living that NEET lifestyle, right? And he meets with friends, pretending that he just got off work. He gets a call from his mom, and his mom says that she will not be sending him any more money, which devastates him. And then we meet a friendly stranger named Rio?
Rio, yep.
Rio. So Rio shows up and is like, hey, I know everything about you. And Arta's like, that's pretty fucking weird. And Rio's like, hey, don't worry about it. Hey, wanna get a bunch of money for medical experiments? And Arta's like, what? I mean, yes, but what? And Rio's like, yeah, just here's a pill. And
the quintessential millennial trouble.
And Arta is like, okay, I'm gonna get really drunk and take this then, I guess. I'm already really drunk, so hopefully it's good with alcohol.
Yeah.
And Rio's like, why not? So
it wouldn't be a medical experiment unless you try all kinds of different random variables. Because as we all know,
yes,
drugs only get better with alcohol.
That take mysterious pills with your alcohol, kids.
Oh God.
So
This is why we have a disclaimer.
So Arta wakes up and he's much, much younger. He's younger and he's confused, and then he remembers, oh, Rio said that I would become high school age. Which you know, still, it's gonna be uncomfortable. There's gonna be some uncomfortable moments.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be honest. One of the biggest flaws of this entire show is this entire premise. Like, literally, the whole fucking premise, which is wildly unnecessary. Because, here's the thing. We're about to meet a lot of quite interesting characters. A lot of really solid characters that have great social dynamics. You know what we don't need? A grown-ass man becoming his high school self and developing crushes on high school children. That's not what we need here, fellas. That's not what the doctor ordered.
No. The magic pill didn't automatically mean so now. You gotta make some interesting choices, my man, and deal with the problems
I do
of high
appreciate,
school.
at one point, Rio, calls him out. He's like, hey, it's fine that you're developing romantic feelings, but don't commit any crimes. But also, I don't think it's that fine that he's developing romantic feelings. I don't think that's fine. I don't think that's okay. Grown-ass men should not be crushing on high school girls. That's just... I feel pretty confident in that stance. Pretty comfortable.
That's a pretty solid role, I would say.
Yeah, so...
as a given.
And if we removed that point from the show, if he were just a transfer student, right? Or if you wanted to be convoluted, right? If you wanted to be convoluted, then just have... basically fill a Rio role where you're at more of a distance, right? And you're playing with these variables. I don't know what the justification would be. Maybe you're a fucking time traveler or some shit. I don't give a damn. It didn't need any of this, though. What it should have just been, you can just have a transfer student, or possibly even remove Arta. I'm leaning towards just have him just be a normal-ass transfer student, but removing him wouldn't be the worst thing either. He's a fine character. He's not a complete bland bitch protagonist, but he's one of the weaker characters. So yeah. So
and then
right off the bat,
of course you compare him to me off the top. That's interesting.
Hey, I said he wasn't just a bland bitch protagonist, though. He's better than that.
Yes, Yes, you did. But that's still...
Focus on the good things. Focus on the good things, Shaun.
Okay, sure.
So yeah, long story short, one of, if not the primary flaw of ReLife is the premise of ReLife. I guess it's to hook you in. I cannot emphasize enough. It is either irrelevant or actively detrimental to the show. So, continuing on, the point of ReLife is to rehabilitate NEETs, and Arta has to go through an entire year of school, and then he'll go back to his normal age, and ideally he'll be a nice, well-developed human at that point. So Rio ends up in the same class as well, and Rio, as we learn, has been in the school for 2 years so that he could prepare to help out Arata, but also because Arata is not the first to take ReLife. He is exactly the second. And so the question is, who is the first? And there's 2 other people who immediately I'm like, all right, they are high contenders of being ReLife. First, we immediately meet a different transfer student who immediately gets friendly with Arata, and hasn't been too relevant thus far. Maybe that's a ReLifer. Or, hell, we're about to meet Hishiro. Hishiro? Where's the emphasis on that?
Hishiro.
Hishiro. All right, we're about to meet Hishiro, and she's socially fucked enough. I could believe that she's a NEET sent back in time who desperately needed to learn how to make friends. That makes sense in my head. Especially because we saw that in the notes, in Rio's notes, right, we will learn that nothing eventful ever happened to the first participant. That matches up with who Hishiro is. I'm gonna fuck up that name so many times.
You can call her Chizuru if you like.
Nope, can't do that either.
Man, you are painfully American, Rem.
Oh god. Anyway, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's introduce everyone to the characters. We have the homeroom teacher. She's a younger woman who also teaches physical education. Close to Arta in their desks, there's Oga. Oga, he's flashy, he's popular, he's wicked smart, and very unathletic. And also horribly naive and does not pick up on any signs socially. He's generally charismatic, but not at all aware. Then we have...
Why do I feel like you're describing me again?
Bold of you to think I would describe you as very charismatic, Shaun.
I know.
I like
I just
the
have so
confidence.
much charming.
I do like the confidence.
I'm working on my like self-confidence lately, right?
Sure, why not? You can be Oga. Why not?
I don't want to be Oga is the thing. That's the
what
other
the
thing.
fuck?
I'm just saying.
Sean, I think you should want to be Oga.
Okay, fair.
Feel like
well, okay, if it's between Arta and Oga, I'll be Oga. That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
So
I'll take
another desk mate is Karyu. Karyu, she is childhood friends with Oga. She used to be the like top class representative with Oga the year before. And she's a little bitter that she isn't this year. She's trying really hard to be amazing at athletics and academics, but unfortunately she's solid second place on both. And that frustrates the shit out of her. Then we have Anoya. Anoya is the other transfer student. She's real ditzy and dumb, and we haven't seen much of her. And finally we have Hishiro. Hishiro, she is very quiet, very antisocial, and very, very smart. And so those are all of the roles. And it's all important. Amazingly, all the characters are relevant. Except Anoya. Anoya is not relevant yet. She's there.
She will be.
Okay, I assume she's just around, sort of.
Yeah, no, like, I haven't... Yeah, I don't know if you looked at the front cover, but, like, the 3 characters on the front cover are Hishiro, Arata, and Anoya, so, like, they're front and center, so there you go.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because thus far, 5 episodes in, which this does not seem to be an 80-episode anime.
Nope, it's a 13-episode anime with with its final arc being adapted into a 4-episode
thing. Yeah. Almost halfway through, one of the most important characters, hasn't done much. They're a solid character. They're enjoyable when they're on the screen, but Inoue just hasn't been relevant to any of the plot. So, as we're getting introduced to all these characters, the teacher ends up finding some cigarettes in Arta's backpack because as an adult he smoked cigarettes. She gets very mad at him. He gets detention in the staff room. When he goes to the staff room, we get a glimpse of sort of like a trauma memory going on. We don't know what that's all about yet. And then Arta walks home with Rio, and they have just a chat about ReLife. And then we learn about the previous failed sample, whoever was in ReLife last year, which my official guess, I think, is going to be Hishiro, if it's anybody we know. Inoue seems like an obvious choice, but because like also a transfer, but well, then maybe she'd be more experienced if she did it last year, but also it would make less sense for it to be completely not notable last year. And plus, once again, I just haven't seen enough of Inoue. It could also be someone we just haven't seen yet, but that would be lame.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like they're building up to, like, to be a twist, to be like, oh shit, one of these other kids also isn't a kid, right? And I guess it could be Inoue, and then they can set up a romance there. It could also be Hishiro, and that could be the way they justify the romance, but it's still not great, because, like, look, even if they end up not being a kid, if you thought they were a kid when you start developing feelings for them, that's still problematic. There's a lot of weird layers to this.
Yep. The best thing you can do, Rem, is not think about it too much. Otherwise, you'll send yourself into a dark spiral.
Oh man, for a moment, my first prediction was that the entire school, it was just a school of ReLife subjects. That was my first intuition. I was just waiting, and all of them are just pretending to be fucking high schoolers. I will say, first episode was the weakest episode. It was tonally inconsistent and just had a lot of weird moments. It didn't feel as cohesive as it will feel later on. It takes a few episodes to figure out what it is. Episode 2, we see class reps are Oga and Hishiro, which makes Karyu very angry. She's very frustrated about it. Oga, being completely oblivious to the fact that Karyu is hardcore crushing on him and jealous of Hishiro, taunts Karyu in a friendly way, but not a way that lacks all awareness. We learned that Arata has to make up tests because he failed all of them. Oga offers to tutor them, and we learned that Inoue also failed all of them. And this is why it's like Inoue, she's a transfer student, also failing all the tests. It's like all the signs are there for her to be the other ReLife. If I saw more of her, I would be more suspicious. But I just didn't see enough. Anyway, Inoue, Arata, and Oga all have lunch together where they ask Oga if him and Karyu are like dating or stuff. We learn a story about that, why they have matching earrings and stuff. It's pretty charming, pretty cute. But Oga is like, oh no, of course not. That'd be ridiculous. She would get mad if you even mentioned that, where like she's obviously head over heels for him. Then Arta sees Hishiro over at the lunch line having some problems. He goes and investigates, and it turns out she brought no money. So he gives her some money, and he immediately develops a crush on her. He holds her hand to give her the money, and he's in love with a high schooler. Oh no! Oh no! It's going wrong quite quickly. This kind of shit we could have done without. So we learn about the perks of having the silver pin and being the head of the class. Then Arta goes to deliver his apology letter, in which case he sees Hishiro. They chat. Hishiro feels like she's very unapproachable, and like it's very hard for her to make friends. As they're talking, eventually Hishiro asks for his phone and his phone number, and he gives it, and they start a nice little friendship. That being said, part of that interaction where it's like, she's like, I feel unapproachable, and he's like, hey, why don't you smile more? And hey, fellas, don't do that. Don't.
Yep. That's a big no-no. I don't care how old you are. Like, that's a big yikes on tracks. You do not say that to somebody.
Grown men especially should not tell high school girls, hey, you'd be more likable if you smiled more. Like, oh, Jesus fucking Christ. So see, the show, like, it does characters quite well, and I love the social dynamics between the characters. But, you know, every episode there's a few moments where I'm like, oh god, this is a grown-ass man. And I just feel like it'd be better if I didn't have those moments.
Yeah, no, I find that if you try your best not to think about that aspect, you'll do great. You'll do great.
Basically,
you gotta put up like just a mental wall around that little tidbit of information, and you'll have a much better time.
let me put it this way: this show, the vast majority of it is slice of life high school drama, and all of that is very good. But then, like 10% of it is a harem anime starring a grown ass man. That is all bad. All of that is bad and unnecessary, and I don't like it nor feel comfortable.
On the bright side, he doesn't act much like a grown-ass man, so it's very, like, it's easy to put up that wall for the most part. Like, he acts like a fairly decent character for a high schooler.
Yes.
Which might say more about the neat lifestyle than anything, really.
Very true. So, then Hishiro and Arta, they text each other, right? And she sends him a sticker, and he's like, you look like that cat sticker. And then she just sends him meow. And it's like, wow, look, she does have a cute little awkward personality. Like, she is very, very charming in all of her awkwardness. I would like to see more, like, what I would label as true awkwardness from her. Because, like, they're like, oh, we have misunderstandings, and she smiles weird, and she struggles to pick up on social cues. But there's nothing... You can't only have the likable awkward traits, all right? Like, they've done really good to harness the awkward into a very charming way, but I think they still could have captured that and also had her have some, like, properly unlikable moments.
So, like a proper Watamote moment.
Yeah, because it's like, look, we like to pretend that being awkward is just like, oh, haha, look how silly and klutzy I am, and shit like that. But, like, we've all interacted with, like, properly awkward people, which, like, by definition, true awkwardness creates discomfort.
Yeah, and sometimes you listen to podcasts where one of the hosts is incredibly awkward. You know, it's just the way these things go sometimes.
Is this you or me? Are you insulting me, or is it a self-deprecating joke? I honestly cannot tell.
It's a little bit of both. Honestly, Ram. The problem is, Ram, we're both awkward people a lot of the time, and people say we're cool and charming, like in a lot of our emails, but...
Okay, do people say we're cool?
No, okay, let me reiterate. People say we're clever and charming from time to time, and we have some good insights. But man, oh man, are we
Thank God we have an editor.
Yeah, we have a great editor. We love Dylan.
But continuing on. But yeah, so I think it would have been a little bit better to make it so, because I think you could still have a very sympathetic, charming character, which Hishiro totally is. She's wildly sympathetic, wildly charming. You could still maintain that while also giving it some proper flaws. Because right now, she's almost entirely just cute awkward without any other kind of awkward. And it's like the closest she comes is that when interacting with Arta, she's like, oh, you're really stupid. But it's not like Arta's like, hey, that's like sort of fucked up. Arta's just like, ha ha ha, oh man. It's like teasing more than anything. Like, he takes it as teasing even though it's not, and so that's how it comes across in the show. No, you need to let her be a dick and for it to come across as her being a dick sometimes. And then it would be very, like, sympathetic for her to realize that, right? You could have a scene where she's like, oh, that's not at all what I meant to do. Shit. Right? And that would be sympathetic and charming. Point is, don't glamorize awkward into this weird pedestal you place it upon. No, I don't love that, but she is a charming character, so it's solid.
It really does fuck with us actually awkward people, like in the long run.
Yeah. Episode 3. So episode 3, Oga has been trying to get people to call him Kazu. He's like, yeah, no, you can just call me Kazu. And everyone's like, no, I'm going to stick with Oga because it's shorter. But then, Hishiro, she's like, hey, Oga, we got to go do student council stuff or whatever, student rep stuff. And he's like, oh, you can just call me, Kazu. And she's like, all right, Kazu, sure. And he's like, oh my God, you're the first one to actually call me Kazu. And she's like, okay, But Karyu, who had just like called him Oga because like of course that's what's going on. Karyu sees that and she's like, "What the fuck?" And then as they're leaving, Hishiro she meets eyes with Karyu, and Hishiro wants to make friends, so she tries to smile. But as has already been established in the show, her smile does not look like a friendly, happy smile. Her smile looks openly malicious and smug, which is great. They get a lot of mileage out of it, and it almost never feels like forced. It feels like, okay, these are two ingredients that work really well here. Because then she tries to be friendly to Karyu, but Karyu just sees Hishiro be like, "Oh yes, of course, Kazu," and then that malicious smile that indicates, "I'm stealing your man, fuck you," which is not at all the message Hishiro meant to send, but it's definitely the message Karyu is receiving. Then after that, we get to fitness tests. We see that Oga is terrible at sports. Arta is like, "Oh, come on, you're so shitty." And then Arta, because he has a body of a really shitty, neat 27-year-old, he hurts his shoulder, gets even worse than Oga. We see Karyu is very athletic, but unfortunately Karyu's close friend is even more athletic, so Karyu is stuck to be second best at everything. One small detail that I really enjoy is when they do the running, because like they do some running bits, right? And in any other anime, these would be like, they'd make it a little bit intense, even though it's just high schoolers doing a quick run, right? This one, it does not, like, it has multiple moments where there's just like no music, there's just like 3 seconds of them running. And then it's like, all right, these are your scores. And I just love how non-dramatic that is. It's just how casual. I appreciate it. So we meet a little bit more of Karyu's close friend who's really good at athletics. Don't know her name. She's not super relevant right now. Don't worry about it. Mm-hmm. Then Hishiro, she talks with Karyu, right? They have an awkward interaction where neither can get a great read on the other. But there's a weird moment where Karyu realizes she was mistaken about Hishiro, right? But then also, this is the main plot line of the next 2 episodes as well. Like, Karyu has a come to Jesus moment where she's like, "Oh, Hishiro doesn't even like think of me as like a rival or anything. This isn't like a malicious thing. I've created it in my head." And then the next 2 episodes are all about Karyu being like, "Hishiro's a malicious bitch." And it's like, what? It's weird. I think there could be some fix there. It's just a bit of an awkward thing that they've done there. Mm-hmm. Continuing on, Arta, he tries to run and he fucks it up, scrapes his knee, in which case a jock cradles him, carries him to the nurse's office, and Arta sort of develops a crush on him straight up, which was humorous that he just develops a sort of crush on this random ass dude just because he's getting carried. It isn't relevant. It was mildly funny, but also still, don't crush on children.
Yeah. But hey, man, like, if you suddenly got carried on a Princess Carrie, I feel like it's hard not to have, like, a pang of emotion for the handsome person carrying.
I mean,
you.
that is how we met, Shaun.
It is.
You tripped and fell, and then I carried you, and you've had a crush on me ever since.
Mm-hmm. That's why we do a podcast together. And there's so much raw sexual tension.
Continuing on with the show, Kairi is super paranoid, and she gets more paranoid because the next day, Hishiro and Arta, they're walking to school together, and Kairi sees Hishiro smiling like a normal human being, and is like, "What the fuck? What?" So it was malicious, maybe. And that's basically the end of episode 3. Episode 4, it's the Kairi episode. It's all about Kar and her struggles and how she's really crushing on Oga, really struggling with her self-image and wanting to be the best, right? Meanwhile, Hishiro thinks that things are going great. Hishiro is like, "I'm making friends. Me and Karui are tight as hell." And Arta's like, "Oh no, that is not the case between you guys." And I do enjoy this little misunderstanding. Let's see. Oga gives Arta a worksheet to study, so Arta stays after school and works on it. Hishiro tries to smile at Karui at one point, but this time Karui just gets up and like ignores her. And then Karui, she's like after school, she's helping to clean up everything for the volleyball club. The jocks and her close friend, they help a little bit, but then they leave. So it's just Karui alone. And she like drops the ball and it falls away from her. And like in that act, she breaks the fuck down. Which I feel that. We have all had those moments where we are like teetering on oblivion and then the stupidest thing will happen and we're broken. We just lose it. And if you haven't had a moment like that, you're lying. You're lying. That it's just too human. Where it's like you're on the precipice, then you make a peanut butter jelly sandwich or some shit, and then you drop it, and you're like, that's it. That was the last thing.
Yep, and the son of a bitch always lands butter side down. There's no exceptions.
Yeah, and it's like it's not about the sandwich, but the sandwich did cause you to break out into tears, right? And it's just that's how it goes sometimes. Yep. So Karui has a complete breakdown, and so she sees that Hishiro, for some reason, is also staying late. And she sees Hishiro left her bag outside of the classroom, and thoughts are running through her head. She's like, the silver pin is in there. Silver pin I fucking deserve. And if I took it, she deserves to be fucked up a little bit. She's had it too easy. And so she decides I'm gonna steal her bag and hide it and inconvenience her, right? And it's gonna be fine. I'm not gonna get caught. She grabs it. She walks, and then at the stairs, Arata's there. He's returning the keys to the classroom he was studying in, and Arata's like, "Oh, hey, Karui, what's going on? Why do you got two bags? Why is one of those bags? Why is one of those bags definitely not yours? And oh, you know what? I actually think I know whose bag that is." And Karui's like, panic. She tries to run down the stairs. She trips and falls. She gets caught by Arata, but then Arata trips and falls, and they thud all the way down the stairs. And it's like, oh, okay, what's going on? Hishiro is leaving the classroom at that moment, hears a big thud, notices her bag is gone, and looks over, and she sees them collapse at the bottom of the stairs together. She gets the nurses, and now we enter into episode 5. She gets the nurses, they end up in the nurse's office. Arata wakes up there. It's unclear. Apparently, it's still just like that same night. Apparently, it felt like a long time lapse, maybe because it's a different episode. But it was they were knocked out, but only for like 30 minutes to an hour, I suppose. It's a little bit weird on the timing here. But Arata wakes up and he gets a memory, his traumatic memory that was implied earlier, right? We get more info onto that, and it's when he was working a shitty corporate job, right? Some shitty corporate job as an underling. He was a new hire, and he was being trained by this woman. And this woman, she was being taken advantage of by the other guys who were working there. The other guys who were working here were planning to fuck with her and get her fired and stuff, right? And so Arata tells her about that because he's like, this is bullshit. What the fuck? And she sort of like resigned herself to the situation. She talks about how at some point rivals became enemies. And the reason why that's relevant is, of course, because that's exactly what's happening with Karui. Because, hey, there's nothing wrong with some friendly rivalries. Those are some of the best dynamics. That with a friendly rivalry, you can both grow and push each other to become better. But if rivalry becomes enemy, then you have problems.
Isn't that right, buddy?
Oh, Shaun, I think we both know we're far past the rivalry.
We're at the awkward romance stage.
yeah, exactly. You, as rivals, you either become romantic lovers or enemies. That's the bifurcation.
It's very much a Phoenix Wright, Miles Edgeworth thing right now, I suppose. That makes sense.
Sure.
Oh, God. Yeah, all right. Go, continue. People who know who will know.
Which one am I?
Oh, God. Rem, you're too composed. I think you're more of an Edgeworth.
All right, good to know.
Yeah, and plus you're quite the prosecutor.
I'll give you a worthy edge. All right.
Hey, ooh. Hey, buddy. Ooh.
Oh, wait, no, that was last week's episode. Episode.
Yeah, no. That's why I need a drink.
So Karui wakes up, and Arta's like, hey, so what was the deal with the bag, though? Like, seriously. And Karui breaks the fuck down, explains her jealousy. She feels like she can't win at anything. And Naruto gives like some genuinely great life advice that's essentially like, hey, focus on the hard work you're putting in instead of comparing yourself to others all of the damn time, which is great advice. And it's a principle that like I try to live my life on. Like I remember when I was in high school, right? And I did speech and debate, right, Shaun? And
yeah.
I was pretty decent at it.
I mean, you ended up teaching that class after you graduated, so, you know,
Yeah.
I would say you were a little more than decent, bud.
Yeah, okay, so I was quite good. And when we would go to tournaments, everybody on my team would take it as a gift. They'd be like, well, obviously you're going to take first place. Like, no duh. And I would always correct them. And I wasn't being like falsely humble or anything. I sincerely meant this sentiment. I was like, I know that I'm going to do well. I cannot say that I will do better than everybody else. That's not a claim I can make. There's too many variables. There's lots of very talented people. And that's not my priority. I know that I will do well. And because of that, I will feel good about my performance, regardless of my exact placing. Obviously, it'd be cool if I end up with first, but it's okay as long as I feel good about my overall performance, right? And I think that's just a lot healthier of a mentality in basically whatever you're pursuing. Now, it's not always easy to have and easy to do that because we, as humans, we're fallible creatures. We want to compare ourselves to others because sure, we might be good, but does being good make us special? I don't know, but being number one, that makes us special, right? And while those are flawed criteria, they're very natural criteria to fall into, mentally speaking.
I mean, hey, guess who has a major inferiority complex? What Hey, how's it going?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But like that, by trying to shift that inherent paradigm into achieving excellence rather than achieving superiority, that is so much healthier and almost always will have better long-term consequences. Now, there are still times to have, like, let's talk about the friendly rivalry thing, right? In that, aren't you trying to be fundamentally better than someone, comparing yourself to someone? And it's like, yes and no. I think, like, the thing that makes it a friendly rivalry is that while, like, the quote-unquote goal is to be better than the other person, that's ultimately not the thing that really matters. You know what I mean? Like,
what matters is the actual competing and your relationship with that person.
Like, sort of the trying to be better than the other person it's just the premise. That's just the foundations. That's just like, oh, okay, this is the justification. But it's not actually why it's happening. Because if the true primary goal, right, above becoming excellent, and above doing well and above enjoying yourself with your friend, above all of those things, if the primary goal was just to be better than this other person, that wouldn't be a friendly rivalry. Basically, you can pretend that superiority is the goal, but it shouldn't ever actually be the goal.
Yeah.
It's like playing fucking board games, dude. Like, everyone should be trying to win, but also, it doesn't really matter who wins. At least until Shaun wins, and then I'm gonna kick his fucking ass, that son of a bitch.
Hold on.
Whoop him!
Buddy. There's a universal rule at board game nights in our household. It's always fuck Rem over. That's true. The plan. That's an unironic rule of the many game nights we have. Primarily because Rem has an insane amount of luck.
I've been blessed by the gods. That's how it works. But anyway, so that was my little soapbox on pursuing excellence and not getting caught up in the bullshit that often entails. So continuing on, Arta goes to leave, right? And Hishiro is waiting for him. And she's like, hey, I've been racking my head to figure out, like, what the deal is. I don't know why she had my bag. And I'm worried that it's because she, like, the only thing I can think of is she stole it, but I don't know why she would. And at first, Arta, he lies on Karui's behalf, right? He's like, oh, yeah, she just thought it wouldn't be safe out in the open like that. And here, Hishiro is like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess that makes sense. And then Arta's like, no, that was bullshit. I'm sorry. She stole it. She did steal it. She was gonna hide it. And Hishiro's like, oh, why? That seems really mean. And it's like, yeah, she's really jealous of you, and it's about the silver pin. And Hishiro's like, oh, if I gave her the silver pin, would we be like friends? And Arta's like, no, no, it's not that simple. And Hishiro's like, I don't understand. And Arta's like, yeah, I think this is of sufficient social complexity. I don't think you would be able to understand with a brief explanation. And Hishiro's like, well, I guess I'll wait and talk with her then. And Arta's like, that's a decent idea. And then Arta decides he's going to snoop. So he waits and he snoops. And Rio is also there snooping because that's also what he does. And Karui shows up, right? And Hishiro, and I love this quality because I unironically, this isn't being awkward. This is what you should do in this situation. Hishiro is super straight up and is like, hey Karui, do you want like my pin or something? Because Arta told me that you wanted it and that you might be like jealous or something. I don't like fully understand what's going on. Do you hate me? And Karui, after a moment, Karui decides to be honest and is like, yeah, you know what? I do hate you, actually. And she's like, you have everything I want, and then you mock me for it. And Hishiro's like, what? What the fuck are you talking about? And Karui's like, don't you fucking pretend. And Hishiro's like, what? And Karui's like, hey, wait a fucking moment. Show me. All right, smile for me. And Hishiro's like, what? Karui's like, smile for me. So Hishiro smiles for her, and it's a creepy, malicious fucking smile. And Karui's like, what the fuck kind of smile is this? And Hishiro's like, I don't know. Want to be friends? And Karui's like, maybe. I want... So Hishiro wants friendship. Karui just wants a rival. Arta, meanwhile, he's unsure about the ultimate choices that he's decided to make. But it seems like things are better between Hishiro and Karui for the moment. So that's like basically the main story in these first 5 episodes. I will say, I feel like it could have used an extra episode. Because I don't think we saw enough stable Karui, right? Because when we saw her, it was already rough for her. And we got like one glimpse of stable, happy Karui, but not enough. So I think we should have seen a little bit more of that to understand the change, right?
Right, but, you know, bullshit rules are a thing.
And I think the resolution should have also lasted. It should have taken a little bit longer. There should have been a little bit more conflict going on.
So you're saying that overall the pacing needs just a little tweaking in this show.
I think this arc, it could have used exactly like one more episode focused primarily on this arc. Not even just like one episode to fit everything I said in it, just like stretch out everything you have over one more episode just to give it a little bit more space to breathe.
Would you like me to give you a half decent explanation as to the reasoning behind some of the pacing?
Sure.
So of course it was only slated for 13 episodes originally, so they had a lot to cram in.
Yep.
And also the source of this is actually a web manga.
Oh, interesting. See, I'll be honest, I started to think that it came from
a light novel?
A choose your own adventure graphic novel.
Oh, so like a visual novel then.
Yeah, visual novel. There we go.
Yeah, no, it is a web manga is the source for this. So
okay, interesting. Because it very much feels like a visual novel. Like a good visual novel, but very visual novel.
Oh yeah, 1000%.
But yeah, overall, I think a lot of the characters are really interesting and they feel really human. They don't feel one-dimensional for the most part. They all have different motivations, and it's fun to watch some of those motivations conflict. Like, there's a nice scene where Arta, Oga, and Anoya, they're all eating lunch together, right? And they see that Hishiro is eating lunch all alone. And so they're like, oh, we should invite her. But then Arta's like, oh, wait, no, we can't have Oga go invite her because then Karui will see Oga inviting Hishiro and she'll get wildly self-conscious and feel terrible. But then if we don't ask her to join us, then Hishiro is just all sad and alone. And it's nice that like you have these differing motivations that make sense, as well as just the interactions between all the characters. It's not a case where Arta is the only one with any relationships with anybody. Like, seeing the other ensemble characters interact is enjoyable and worthwhile, and I appreciate it. It's a solid show. I don't think it needs its premise, and I think that the first 2 episodes, I don't think there's just something about like the tone and maybe the script of the first 2 episodes that seems off compared to the others. And maybe it is just because it's like finding your footing, right? It's the early chapters of anything. But overall, I think that I quite like this show. I think it's A very solid show. I really appreciate the humanity of it and the depth in a lot of its themes and ideas. The premise could very strongly do without, but fortunately, it feels like most of the time the show could do without it. It's like if Rio and the whole ReLife concept could easily disappear and it would basically be the same show. But yeah, so I think that about summarizes everything.
So now that you've gone through it all, where do you think you stand on it? Do you think this is a show worth watching overall, even despite its flaws, or do you think it's it's a case-by-case basis for a lot of people?
I think this show is a very confident thumbs up. And I would say that if you're into some like slice of life, young adult drama, right? That this is a solid show. Because there's not a lot of anime that fit this genre. Because the closest you have is like just harem anime and bullshit like that, usually. And that's unfortunate. Like young adult drama that then focuses on the ensemble cast like this show often does. Yes, please. I always enjoy when a show has a strong ensemble and then actually like takes the ensemble's perspective a lot of the time. If anything, I think this show would have been even better if it didn't have a main character, right? If Arta, like, all right, remove the main premise of the ReLife nonsense, scrap that completely. You can have Arta be a transfer, that's fine. But don't make Arta the main character past, like, the first episode. First episode, he can be the main character because, like, transfer, that's an easy trope to meet all the new characters and have everything explained to you. But only for the first character. Then every other episode, probably focus on just, like, jump back and forth to different characters. Sort of like they did with Karui, but just even more. Because it's like, they did that a bit, and I loved it. I want more of it.
I also love how every time you say Karyu's name, you say it a little bit different every time.
Yeah. The car is, I'm confident in the car.
You're confident in Disney Pixar's cars. Of course you are. Why wouldn't you be? My goodness. But, honestly, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. So you think that all of our recommendations for the show were right, but not as 100% right as they could have been.
Yes, this is a solid show, and it does a lot of things better than, like, the vast majority of shows we've covered in this genre. But it's far from perfect. Still very worthwhile, but that would be the review.
You got to work on putting up your bad aspect wall up when you're watching a show. That it's the wall that people put up when they're watching a show that they know, like, in the back of their mind there's a problem, or maybe the show overall is bad, but they're able to ignore it. You and I usually can't do that, Rem.
Yeah.
But this is one of those shows where it is very important you do, if you're of our age.
Yeah.
So Rem, if you had to guess, what do you think this is the Mal score is for this show?
All right. Okay. So I'm riding the high of getting a perfect score last time.
Mm-hmm. And this show has been out for considerably longer. It's been out for 6 years at this point.
Okay. So it's normalized. I think people really love this show, but I also don't think that it's like quite iconic. I think this show, it's the range I'm leaning towards is either very high 7s or low 8s. Somewhere between like 7.8 to 8.2, around there, right? That's the confident range I'm feeling. Because I think that a lot of people will like this show. I don't think people will have as many problems with the premise as I do, even though they should. But I think there will at least be some who are like, yeah, that's a little weird. I think this show is 8.02.
Ooh.
Just an inch above 8. Just the tiniest fraction above 8 is what I think this show is.
The sheer confidence you have going into this one, Rem.
I'll be honest, if you tell me it's 8.02, I am gonna lose my fuck. If it's 8.02, I gotta tell you what you're showing me next week. It won't be an April Fool's episode or anything, but I will just...
You get to make a decision?
Yeah.
Hardcore?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Rem, this show has 521,000 ratings.
Yep.
And it is sitting nice and pretty at 7.99.
Oh! 0.03 off!
Yup, you were scarily close, my guy. You were scarily close. You hit the nail on the fucking head, though, bud. Because when I was sifting through a bunch of reviews for this, a lot of people highly rate the show. You're right. And then there's a couple of shows that reviews that are like, hey, yo, that's still a man, though. And then a couple negative reviews that don't make any sense. Like, for example, there's one negative review that just says that these are some of the most shallow characters they've ever seen. I feel like...
I strongly disagree with that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you can say a lot of things about the show.
Yeah, I can understand even critiques about the characters. Like, I made critiques about Hishiro, who's might be the best character. Like, it's her or Oga. And I made some, like, very serious critiques about her, but neither were that she's shallow, just that I think it's too favorable. There's some solid depth on her end. I just want to see more flaws.
Yeah. Let's see. The exact wording was, ReLife is escapism as it's at its most shallow.
Oh, what? All right. This person must be new to anime, because let me tell you.
Well, considering that their profile picture appears to be...
Escapism at its most shallow. I'm sorry. Have you heard of My Dress Up Darling?
You really want to crack open that can of worms again, Rem? We just stopped getting emails about
I can hear Jordan in the distance.
Yeah, Jordan is screaming at us.
Screaming, and he doesn't know why.
I can hear him typing up a Discord call to us right now, just be like, oh man, I'm pissed. What did Rem do this time?
Shout out to Shaun and Flop.
Yeah. Just so you have an idea of the character of the person, this is their profile picture. So really, I don't think we can take anything they say seriously.
Oh no, Naruto Brazzers.
So yeah, no. So reviewing ain't for everybody, y'all. Let's just put it to you that way. Presentation is very important when you're writing reviews. But with that in mind, Rem, I suppose the final question I have to ask you, is there any chance you'd like to watch more ReLife with me?
Yeah, I'm interested to see where the story goes, to see what happens next. So, yeah, I'm definitely interested. And I will say, while I'm interested to see how it goes, this show isn't in the category where I'm like 100% confident that it will nail the landing. Like, It's done really solid so far, but I could definitely see it really fucking itself up in, like, the final act.
Well, like I said, it is 13 episodes plus a 4-episode special. That's how I'd describe it. It's not quite an OVA, and it's not quite, and it's wishy-washy. Doesn't matter. So, like, it's a total of 15 episodes of an anime. So, really, it's tricky. But yeah, either way, I think that'll do it. So thank you all so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. If you enjoyed Rem really dissecting every nitty-gritty detail as to the problems of a single story and its overall premise and why it shouldn't exist, then you should head on over to wherever you get your podcast and leave us a review, whether that be Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Stitcher, Spotify. And we do read every single one. And we do enjoy every single one, even some of the ones that are nasty to us, because, quite frankly, we may have self-confidence issues, but every time we see a review that's like, hey, these guys' opinions suck 5 stars, it makes us laugh. But if that is still not enough for you, you can head on over to twitch.tv/animeoutofcontext, where myself and Remington and Dylan, our lovely editor, do occasionally play video games exceedingly poorly. But if that is still not enough for you, you can head on over to patreon.com/animeoutofcontext, where you gain access to all kinds of lovely bonus material, including having the opportunity to have your name read aloud on the podcast. So, Rem, who are we thanking this week?
I want a brief note. Patreon has, like, changed its formatting. It's all fucked. I think I figured it out, but I'm just letting y'all know.
Now, are you just saying that, or has it actually gotten a bit fucked?
It's a bit fucked, but I think
it is a bit fucked.
Yeah,
I just pulled it. It is a little bit fucked.
I think I've made it work. So hopefully everybody is listed and in their proper tier. I love you all. All right, we have Alex, Zombie Stomp 91 Soul Eater is Life. What a fucking name. Xanax, Yulkim, Okay.
Are you sure you got them all, or did you, like, is that the exact number, or are you uncertain?
I might have missed 2 of them.
Okay, fair enough.
Yandere Neko, you here? Why Shaun, why Shaun? Humstava. Walk me home gently. Wade a Shell, Tyler Worley. Turtly enough for the Turtle Club. Trenton Farrell, Travis J. Humphrey, Totally God, Tim Westy, The Susanator, The Big Bean, that one anime dude who's also a duck, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is my favorite anime, Take My Cheeks, Spicitus, that fellow who shall reign supreme after rewriting the phonetic system, Silent Secondary, Shoujo Addict who doesn't need help, just more manga to read and anime to watch, Sean's hot, throbbing gumdrop buttons, Sean punish Rem and make him watch Excel World, School Days and Clandid for the Feels, Salty Pretzel, Ross Palmer, Rhiannon Williams, Remington Merrill, Remington Chase, Voice of the People, President of the Turtle Club, Chair of the Rooster Committee, and Daddy of Craws. Rem gave me depression. Please give me a cool and interesting anime-related pun name. Sean, go.
Sorry, what?
Anime pun, go.
Anime? Just an anime pun out of nowhere? You can't just make pun. Go. I don't. Oh my god, I have never choked on a pun so hard. Have fun with that soundbite, Dylan.
What a koi fish. There you go.
What a koi fish. Yeah, that's
if
it.
The pun man won't give you something, then I will. Then
I was just gonna go with anime. You know?
Oh my god.
Because like that you can't just ask for puns like that.
Well, they did. Then we have Pern the Merson fan. Underrated variations on a theme here. Oh boy, an ounce of serotonin, don't mind if I do. No waifu, no laifu, Nick Harvey. Misaka is cosplaying as Misaka, explains Misaka casually as she shows up at the costume party. Mikeka 7 Hierto, Mexican Gone Freaks, Maya Sizitzi, Matthew Drum says Dylan's an angel, Matt02 Max, Lizzie Anthea, King Rich Rock, Casey Mosley, Cassidy, Just a Traveler, Jax, Jam Hands, I Remington am a Kappa and love to steal everyone's butt balls. I want Rem to ruin Darling and the Franks for me. I Remington Chase think we should review more Attack on Titan to understand the final season White Swords cards. I Remington am a proud member of the SOS Brigade and simp for Haruhi. No idea what the fuck that means. Hunter Davies, Glenn Michael Dolan.
Haruhi is the name, Haruhi.
Oh, okay. Fuck of Love Fox and Boy, Farmer Weeb's Bat Pickup Line of the Week. Hi, Alex Jones Lawyer. Fantide, Extreme Cobra. Epic Amy, Elite Knight. Drink milk to prevent wobbly bones, not a conspiracy. Dickite, Mimicin, Pikachurin, Tris, Pentafluorethyl, Trifluorophosphate, also known as FAP. And finally, Trans 1,4 Base 4 Pridal F. Crumb Sluts Bakery, now with Step Mommy Come. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
I don't
Holy shit.
Oh.
Creed 13, Cotton Candy out of context, but not the pizza flavor. Shy 900, Cheese Monkey, Cage in the House, Rock Hard for Geodudes, Blood for the Blood God, Skulls for the Skull Throne, Big Blue Bear Boy, as your best friend, I know what your one docky is, and it is Racnera, a Racnera. How do you feel about Racnera, whoever the fuck that is, Sean?
Big spider lady from Monster Musume. No, thank you. I mean, as long as you don't look at the spider part, it's fine. But that's the thing, is that she's mostly spider part.
Anime out of context gone wild. XXX 18 plus. Only listen if alone. Delete your history. That's fair after what we went through. Am I penguin-y enough for Club Penguin? Still feel spoken to. The L to a B to the P. L to the T to the P. Hey, Yooks, it's Yum Fast BB, Master Weeby. Oh, Jesus Christ. Real solid name, had a stroke. Elise Howard, AJ Tunnels, AJ Honey, and now we go to the Boy Wizard T, where you get the task you avoided by writing a Patreon name. Chris, you get planning your fiance's B-day. And then one last one. We have Sean read this. Oh, okay, I will. Oh, that sweet silky frog ass juice. Thank you, Sean. You get more excited every time, I notice. Now we move on to the Boy Wizard tier, where everybody will be assigned a visual novel. A visual novel that's on Steam in the visual novel category. So, I look forward to your reports on all of these visual novels. Oh god,
Rem, be careful on Steam. They have so many adult ones now.
Well, I'm just on top sellers, and I'm working my way down, so we'll see what happens.
Oh dear.
Warning, you're 799 episodes away. You get Digimon Survive.
Okay.
Vincent
safe.
Calabrese, you get Hooked on You, a Dead by Daylight dating sim.
Oh god, I'm gonna have to play that on stream, aren't I?
The Great Buttball of Despair, you get Neon White. Stupid Sexy Nergigante, you get Persona 4 Arena Ultimax.
That is not a visual. What?
Okay,
Okay, fine.
I am only at the whim of Steam, Shaun.
I mean, yeah, fair.
I'm not here to make this decision. Steam has made it for me. Shuffleboard is Totes Sport. You get Crush Crush. Looks weeby and bad. Rat Visa the Finish.
That's a porn one. Yep.
Oh, fuck. Great Visa the Finish. You get The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Please Watch Healer Girl, a cute slice of life about using magic to heal people. Also, Rem is still a girl. You get Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy. How is that different from Chronicles? I couldn't tell you. One is sepia tone.
They're very different. But that's okay.
Oh, but of course. Then we have My Afro Ate My Dog. You get AI The Somnium Files, Nirvana Initiative. Momo the Griff, you get Super Robot Wars 30. Mike wants an Overlord review. You get Needy Streamer Overload. Miguel DeLeon, you get Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth Complete Edition. Maitawa says first 3 arcs of Bakemonogatari is just 8 episodes. I'm struggling today. You get The Legend of Heroes, Kuro no Kiseki. Latinos Eats Death and Anime for Breakfast. You are going to get The Walking Dead, the Telltale Definitive Series. Jacob Payne, you get Escape Academy. Inuyasha's My Favorite Cryptid. For you, you get Utawara Rumano, Prelude to the Fallen. Hey, y'all want to join me for Whiskey Music and Magic the Gathering? I'm a Red Blue Artifact runner. How do you feel about people who run Red Blue, Shaun?
I don't know enough about Magic to make a statement. I just know that knowing you, Rem, you'd probably run blue, and because you're a controlling bitch sometimes. But I like red because red has goblins.
Well, they are going to get Opus Echo of Star Song Full Bloom Edition.
That
I don't know what to tell you.
Surprisingly, not a hentai one. Surprisingly.
Harrison, you get Doki Doki Literature Club Plus. Go ahead, call the cops. It won't unreject the childhood friend. I'm the childhood friend. You are getting Monster Prom 2, Monster Camp.
Great fucking game.
Dylan, when are you taking over? You are going to get Library of Ruina. Crimson Reapers, just because of the scythes. Oh no, bad luck for you. You get Summer Memories. Womp womp, that's all I'm going to say. Beethoven 1201, even more of a womp womp. You get the worst thing of all. Danganronpa V3, Killing Harmony.
Oh dear. Hey, it's just the third game, man. For all we know,
unironically, I think Danganronpa may be the worst game experience I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
Anime Girl, you get Coffee Talk. Allfather's fun fact, the average ejaculation ejaculates at 25 miles per hour, making it illegal to ejaculate in a school zone. You are going, I'm skipping the Danganronpas. Good God, there's so many Danganronpas. You get VA11 Hall A cyberpunk bartender action.
No, I'm familiar with that one. It's got some very suspicious language in it.
Aaron Hegland, you're going to get milk outside of a bag, outside a bag of milk. What? All right. And 2 sec, Shaun, I have to show you my Rule 34 reviewee. It is my favorite of my many folders. You get Our Life, Beginnings and Always. Next we move on to our Joey Wheeler tier. This week, tell them what they're gonna get, Shaun.
Oh man. Oh god. You're gonna get
something nice and fitting to the episode, tie it in.
Man, you took the easy one out of the way, which is unfortunate.
Well, of course I think it needs to be more intensive. These are the inappropriate Joey Wheeler tier we're talking about. It needs to have more effort put into it.
The first thing that came to my mind, I don't know if it'll work. The first thing that popped into my mind are signs of aging, which is very dark.
What the fuck?
I don't know. You put me on the spot.
You know what? Because of that, we're gonna ask Joey Wheeler. Shaun is gonna tell you all how you're gonna die.
No,
so...
I don't want that modus operandi.
Well, it'll be as good. Joey Wheeler. So good luck. I guess pull up a list of causes of death. Have fun, fucker. You did this to them. So congratulations to our inappropriate Joey Wheelers who are learning about their future. I want to be abundantly clear. This is 100% accurate. We are trained psychics. We can see the future, and Shaun he will be liable for everything he says here.
Pleasant causes of death.
So if we start with Raphtalia.
Oh god, it gave me the suicide hotline number.
Oh fuck.
That's unfortunate. We
start with Raphtalia's My Anime Waifu will return in September. How are they gonna die, Shaun? How the fuck is this patron, our lovely, lovely fan, how are they gonna die? As Joey Wheeler.
Oh, man. Oh boy. I don't want to do this.
Oh, here we are.
Okay.
Add some flavor to it if possible.
Man, there's not a great way to make this funny, is there?
I mean,
because like the first thing that popped up was cancer, and that's not great.
All right, Raftalia, you're gonna die by cancer. You've heard it here.
No,
that's what Shaun has said. Albeit he didn't say it like Joey Wheeler, so I'm very sorry for that. Could I get a Joey Wheeler saying cancer real quick, Shaun?
Cancer.
Oh, it's so horrible. Pizza.
Yeah.
Next up, we got Pizza Cotton Candy is my waifu. Terrible. Absolutely god awful.
Heart disease. You're gonna have heart disease, especially after all that Pizza Cotton Candy.
Okay, at least you made it relevant with the Pizza Cotton Candy, but I can't help but notice right now you're going very basic, right?
Look, when I search causes of death on the internet, it is
these are the top ones. You can add some flair.
Here
For example, Magic Ice Ball. You are gonna get truck-cooned after finally professing your love to your soulmate. See, like that, it has details. It's specificity, right? So there you go, Magic Ice Ball. You're welcome. Prepare for that. Next up we have Dylan Army General. Please play Yandere Simulator. Oh God.
Oh, absolutely not. Not to crush your dreams or anything, but I don't care much for that developer. You're gonna get. This is a weird one. Death by computer games. It feels oddly relevant. I'm trying to figure out what the specificity is, but apparently.
What game?
Well, let's see. What were they playing? Oh, that's not actually death by video game. Oh God, it was a 50-hour straight session of World of Warcraft.
Oh fuck. All right, next up we have Demon Ray 13.
Spontaneous human combustion.
Fine. Next up we have My Dear Old Mom. So Shaun, tell me how my lovely mother is going to die.
Surrounded by her loved ones.
You know what? Very well done. Very well done. Next up we have Charles C. Nussbaum.
Happy.
No, you can't just be.
Okay, fine. What do you want me to say? Autoerotic asphyxiation? I don't want to put that on our people.
Wow, Charles, look at you go. All right, next up we have Blood Cell, not the white one.
Funnily enough, exsanguination.
Jesus. Next up we have hashtag AOOC Naked Podcasting 2022. I mean, I could be naked right now. No one would know.
I mean, how do they know we're not, is the thing.
Shaun, Shaun is a never nude, so. I'd like it on the record. Shaun is a never nude.
My body dysphoria is so bad that even in the shower, I'm in a full suit.
No, it's not. It's not for body dysphoria. He just feels really comfortable always wearing jean short shorts.
And they specifically are emblazoned with juicy on the butt.
Yeah.
Because I've got to give myself some kind of like confidence boost because I know there's not much going on down there.
Yeah, there you go.
You're gonna get the fuck? Sorry, some of these weird causes of death are interesting. Careful where you swim because you might end up on the wrong end of a swordfish.
Oh, fuck. And last but not least, we have Dylan Hayden, who has the most preposterous death of all.
Man, stabbed during a game of Monopoly. That's not preposterous, though. That's just what Monopoly does to a man.
It's true. I'm very tempted to buy Shaun longest Monopoly ever. It's Monopoly, but it lasts like 5 hours, so.
God, Monopoly already lasts 5 hours.
Oh, God, I love it.
People who home rule Monopoly need to stop and never play Monopoly again. Like, and also, I don't care how much you love a thing. If you buy the Monopoly version of that thing, you're dead to me.
Oh, shit. Well, you heard it here first, folks. Thank you all for tuning in. If you want to reach out, whether it's for comment, question, feedback, or recommendation, then you can reach out to us on Twitter at AnimeConPod or email us at animeoutofcontext@gmail.com.
What the fuck? So I didn't process this when I was looking at the list, but the top of this list, you want to know what the fucking image they use to highlight bizarre ways to die is?
Sure. It's a gummy noose. Jesus fucking Christ.
What the fuck, dude? And I'm just looking at this site, and it has links to financial care and funeral and memorial services. What the fuck is this site?
I don't know what's going on, man. I don't know.
Either way, that's enough of that. But once again, thank you all so much for tuning in. We love and appreciate you all very, very much. And as always, don't fuck your sister.
I would like it on the record. Shaun is a cunt. Hey, fellas, don't do that.
Oh god, it gave me the suicide hotline number.
Hey, you'd be more likable if you smiled more. At least until Shaun wins, and then I'm gonna fuck his fucking ass, that son of a bitch. Grown-ass men should not be crushing on high school girls.
God, I have never choked on a so hard.
Meow.